and welcome to our Morning Thurners podcast.
I am Nelson.
I'm Jeff.
And I'm Glow. We're the fucking Morning Throners.
And welcome back to another episode of Morning Thurners podcast. We're jumping right into a sworn sword where we catch back up with our boys Dunk and Egg. And if you're coming into this, you have no idea where they're going to pick it up. And we end up at a little castle in the Reach. Nelson, take it away.
All right, first thing I'm going to say, remind everybody, we are on YouTube, Spotify, going to be on SoundCloud and iTunes shortly. Check us out there. Give our videos a like. It really helps us out. DM us on Twitter if you have any comments or anything you want us to talk about in the next episode. With that, we'll get right into it. One thing I want to say about all three books is the illustrations in this hardcover
are beautiful.
Awesome.
They're beautiful.
Yeah, they're pretty sweet.
The only one I have an issue with is the one where the horse gets killed. I mean, it doesn't make sense.
The
Why does he have a
spike
pointed
through the neck in the
lance?
first book.
Where the fuck is this pointed lance at? What the fuck?
Yep.
Yeah. Why did he have a pointed lance? It made no sense at all.
And one other thing I'm going to say right quick before we get into it is, like Jeff said, we're starting off with The Sworn Sword, which is the second short story in the Knight of the Seven Kingdoms anthology. We probably will be making references to, or callbacks to the first book in this anthology, A Hedge Knight. So if you haven't read that yet, I would recommend it before listening to this and maybe checking out our first two podcasts if you want. Our first two podcasts on this anthology. And with that, we'll get right into it. So it starts off, and like I said at the end of the last episode, I think that this story, like one of the main themes is Egg realizing how the world is. And we kind of get a very little bit right here at the beginning, and they start and they're at a crossroads, and they're coming back to this castle that Jeff mentions, Standfast, and they come across two people who were put in an iron crow cage and just hanging, like in
tiny
this
crow
crossroad.
cage. They're like
tiny
on
cage.
top.
Yeah, just
And they're
hugging
dead.
each other. Yeah.
Dead. Yeah. So, and it's super hot.
Yeah, there's a big drought that's been going on for a
Imagine
while.
being put in a cage.
A black
metal
cage. A metal black cage.
Yeah. Metal gets so, like, getting in your car in the summertime, right? You would, like, literally be burning all over the place when your skin touches.
It'd be awful.
It would be so bad.
It would be unbelievably uncomfortable. Uncomfortable the fact that you couldn't... It's like when they have people sit in hot cars in Arizona with the windows up to, like, oh, this is how your dog feels when you keep them in there. It would be 18,000 times that painful.
Worse than that, yeah. So...
And you're on, and another person, just a claustrophobia.
Yeah,
being
uncomfortable,
like,
and,
so
and you're
uncomfortable.
on the person. Oh my god. It made me
Oh my
claustrophobic thinking about, there's not one person in this world that I would want to be stuck in a cage with in beautiful weather for a minute. It would be
Plus,
so
like,
uncomfortable.
It's sucks when
it's
all
skeeving me
your
out
weight
right
is
now.
on, like, a little bar.
Not even
like,
the red woman?
Like, imagine going to like Subway,
Missandei.
to New York or something, right? And you know how they have like those subway grates, those like metal grates,
Yeah.
or even like a storm drain, and like just having to kneel on that storm drain for like 10 minutes. How bad would that hurt? Like just your legs to just like put all your weight on a metal cage like that.
I can't have my knee on the grass for about 30 seconds.
I know. I freaking.
I gotta switch knees. I gotta
such a pussy.
You gotta pull your shorts down in order to get comfortable.
Yeah, it's rough. I can't imagine this. And so, because it's so bad, you guys remember what Egg says? He's like, wow.
I wonder what they did. They must have done something pretty bad.
And Dunk is like,
I
there's lord. I think he says like, there's lords and lords.
There's
some.
Yeah.
Will just do it for anything. Like maybe all they did was steal half a loaf of bread.
Yeah.
He's like,
Yeah,
it
they
doesn't
say
take
that
much.
throughout this whole book, don't they? There's lords and lords. There's knights and knights. There's lords
like-
and lords.
Yeah, and like I said, this is kind of like I think it's a good. It's like teaching like Egg, who is gonna be in a position of power one day, like a lot of valuable lessons. Like it's easy. It's kind of like what Ned Stark swears by. Like if you're gonna pass a sentence, swing the sword.
Yeah,
Like, if you're
and that's a much
put people in
lesser.
this- Like if
deal.
you're gonna put people in this cage, you should be able to go there and like watch them be in horrible agony.
Right.
And if they did do something horrible and they deserve it, then you should be able to watch that. And if
And
they
you
stole
should
a
be
loaf
okay.
of bread, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I just wanted to point that out because I think that's why because this doesn't really seem to have anything to do with the rest of the book, right? I think it's just like
Yeah.
a point. It just kind
I
of
mean, I don't know. To the point where I've read,
to the point we've read.
It might
It
be
just seems-
foreshadowing the widow's craziness too.
Yeah,
Isn't this in the
she's
widow's
evil.
area?
Yeah. So this might be like the widow did this type thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
That's a good thought.
So, just real quick recap where we are. It seems like this is a year and a half about later than A Hedge Knight Ends.
Yeah, definitely at least a year and a half. Maybe working on
They
2.
say close to 2 years, don't they?
Yep.
Yeah.
They lost Chestnut, their horse. They don't say how, but we got a replacement mule, Maester,
Yeah.
that is carrying wine casks.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
And Egg normally rides on it because Chestnut's gone, but right now they're transporting wine casks back to Standfast. And like we said, it's in the middle of a huge drought.
Yeah.
So we also find out how old Egg is. We talked about it last time that we thought he was about Arya's age. We find out now he's 10, so he is Arya age. Like I think she's 10 around the third book.
Mm-hmm.
Around A Storm of Swords, I think she's around 10 because she starts off 9.
Yeah, she starts 9.
And so a little change in leadership since the last book. In the last book, Daeron II was king. Baelor was heir, but Baelor ends up dying. Now we have Aerys the First, not the Mad King. A lot of people think this is the Mad King. It's not. This is Aerys the First is king, and his hand is Bloodraven.
So he's the older brother to Maekar.
He is Maekar's older brother, younger brother to Baelor, and older to Maekar.
And I don't know if we know this right now, but the Bloodraven. Should we go into where he kind of comes from?
We'll talk about that at the end in case there's a little callback to the A Song of Ice and Fire series. So we'll at the end, once maybe people who haven't read, we'll talk about it then. But yeah, so Aerys is the king, Bloodraven's hand, and like we get like I don't know if we get this here. We do get it in this first half of the book, so I'm not spoiling anything. But we find out that the Lar, who is Baelor's oldest son, right? He's in the first. He's in the Hedge Knight. He should be king, right? If Baelor dies and the king's dead, it's the oldest son's oldest son. Is heir.
Yeah.
We find out that him and his younger brother, Baelor's other son, Martyres or something, they both died in the spring sickness.
Yeah.
Oh, Valar died in that?
Valar did, yeah.
Okay.
Which is why
Aerys takes over.
Aerys becomes king, yeah, the next eldest brother. And we hear a little quote that Blood is while they're riding back to this castle with the wine, Blood is thinking about like we get this because he's thinking about it, and we find out
Who is Dunk?
Dunk is.
Dunk.
Yeah.
He's
said
thinking about
blood.
who's king, and
You said blood.
My bad. He's thinking about how all this stuff happens, who's in charge, and we hear the riddle. How many eyes does Bloodraven have? 1,000 eyes in one. And you're like, well, that doesn't make sense. What does that mean?
Yeah.
But then we find out he's albino, and he has a
red.
red birthmark on his cheek, and he only has one eye.
And he only has one eye. It's crazy.
So it's like a joke, like he has 1,000 eyes because he has spies.
And the
He's
birthmark,
like he's kind of like Varys.
the birthmark looks like a bird flying, right?
People say it looks like a
they say
raven.
look at Raven.
Dunk says he saw it in King's
And
Landing one time, and it just looked like a red birthmark.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
But dude, imagine how creepy this guy has to look. Just like an albino, like
With a red eye.
I mean, albinos have red eyes, but only one eye, a crazy birthmark. And I'm sorry if anybody's albino out there, but albinos look like when you first see them, they kind of look like a corpse. That's what Dunk says. And this guy has to be even worse, right? Because he is like he's a Targaryen, so he's wearing like black armor.
You just
What?
You said we were gonna save that.
What? He's a Targaryen. No, we know that. They
I
talk about this.
I literally just said, should we say where Bloodraven comes from? You're like, no, we'll wait because it has a good callback.
I think there's something that you don't know
Okay.
about the Song of Ice and Fire. But yeah, he's a Targaryen. They say that in this. He's one of the bastards that was legitimized.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Who's that?
If you didn't know that, it says it.
It says it right here too, because Dunk
No,
says
they
he sees
still
him coming
call
into
him.
King's
They
Landing.
still call him Rivers. He's Brendan Rivers.
Yeah, Brendan Rivers, but he was legitimized.
He's not
No,
Brendan
somebody-
Targaryen.
He was
It's
legitimized,
because
so he is.
No one's calling him Brendan Targaryen.
Okay, hold on. They don't really go into it here, but there's a Blackfire Rebellion. They touch on it. Basically, what happens is there's a king who had a ton of bastards. Aegon the Unworthy has a ton of bastards. On his deathbed, he legitimizes all of them and gives Daemon Blackfire
The sword instead of his heir Daeron.
exactly. So there's a big confusion. Who is the king? Because the king has always had the sword, but now we have a legitimate son and then a bastard who was just legitimized on his deathbed, and then it starts this rebellion. Because of the rebellion, most people don't actually treat the bastards of like they're legitimate because they were rebels. Most of them were on the rebel side. Bloodraven is actually like one of the only ones who wasn't. He fought on the side of the Trueborn Targaryens. It's a little into it. They don't really talk about that, but it kind of comes out throughout this, so it's kind of good to know that going in. But yeah, just like a really creepy guy, and just I can't imagine like somebody in full black armor with like a scarlet red dragon and a crazy black helm who's just albino with one red eye and a crazy birthmark. Like that would be like a scary ass dude.
I want to know if he's like a good fighter too. He's got to be. He's got to be a good fighter, even with one eye.
They talk about it later. He's an archer. Yeah, they talk about it later.
Yeah, I mean, even that would be tough with.
And he shoots weirwood arrows.
Yeah, that's
Does he? I didn't know that.
That's pretty badass.
Yeah, it says it's raining down white shafts.
Yeah, that's pretty bad. That's pretty badass. One other thing, do we think he's?
Sorry, go.
Oh my God! Talk about rude. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, because we don't do that at all. You guys might notice it because I always cut it out, but we talk over each other 90% of the time.
So, do we think he's like the master of whispers right now with all these? How many eyes does he have? I think because it says how many ears does he have too. They start worried about when they start talking treasonous things.
Yeah, so he's the
or
hand.
Dunk starts hearing people talk treasonous things.
Yeah, so he's the hand, so he doesn't hold the title of Master of Whispers, but it seems like he has a real Varys vibe on how people in the realm
even
think
know how long the title of Master of Whispers was a thing?
Maybe.
I have a strong belief that Varys was just like, no, you need me. I can tell you things.
Yeah.
Make me a master, pretty much,
Yeah.
so something like that.
That makes sense.
I don't think it was something that was always there.
All right, so basically that's all just in Dunk's head riding up. He's thinking about how he saw this guy one time. And they get there, and again, super hot. Dunk's like, I can't wait to get back. I'm going to take a little soak in the river. It's going to be great, super hot. And they get back, and they meet your boy Sir Bennis. What do you guys think of Sir Bennis the Brown?
Just a shit-eating douchebag.
He's like...
it's funny how bad...
Walton before he became a good guy. Like a upstanding citizen.
Yeah. And he just like smells so bad. They reference it like 20 times.
Just like a dirt ball. I just see a dirt ball in a movie theater that is just like hopping theater to theater with like a popcorn size where you get free refills and then just only paying for one movie and seeing every movie and just getting free refills.
Who's that guy?
Just a dirt ball.
You know what I think of Bennis?
With Red Man in his lip the whole time.
Yeah. Big old chalk.
Just like spitting at the feet of little kids and shit. What a dirtbag.
You know Pigpen in
Peanuts.
How he always has like the dirt cloud? That's how I picture Bennis. He's always got like a dirt cloud next to him.
He's definitely got shit yellow teeth. You know, just
they're red. They're red.
No, they say they're brown. They say they're
brown.
But it's like stained red lips, and he just looks like an asshole.
Yeah.
He literally looks like an asshole, just brown and shitty.
So Sir Bennis is the other hedge knight in the service of Sir Eustace Osgrey, who is the guy who Dunk is currently serving. Dunk has been there not too long, it seems like.
I feel like it's not too long because he doesn't know too much about where he's at.
And the villagers, he says the villagers know him as Sir Eustace's new knight.
Yeah.
Sir Bennis has been around a little longer.
I feel like Sir Bennis has been there almost
a little while.
Yeah, he's been around the block there, it seems like.
Yeah. But Dunk knew Sir Bennis from previously.
From
and
Sir
again,
Arlen,
we don't really find this out right now, but he talks about it later.
He served with Sir Arlen.
Yeah, they like were transporting a Dornish knight from like somewhere to somewhere else. With
He was because they were scared of
like outlaws or something.
Yeah.
And he used to pinch him and shit.
So they get there and Dunk's pissed because the river's all dried up, so he can't go for a soak.
Dunk's just a big bath dude.
Just looking for a soak.
Which is kind of worrisome. You just want to get a bath.
Well, ever since like Aegon started washing his clothes, he like started really caring about getting clean and everything. Like before he met Aegon, he never.
And Dunk points that out later on. He says like you've bathed 3 times this month. What's going on?
Yeah, he's like, I like to be clean, dude. Chill.
So Dunk tells Egg, all right, go on, take the wine up to Sir Eustace Osgrey. I'm going to go check out what happened in the stream. So he starts walking like the way the stream used to flow from. And Bennis is like, all right, I'll come. Don't want you to like get in trouble or whatever.
Yeah, and dude, this is like the friend that you don't want hanging around. I don't even know how to explain Bennis. Like, just get the fuck away from me and let me go on a walk, and I'll figure this out. You're gonna screw this up. Go away.
There's an old. Do you guys ever watch Dane Cook?
No.
I was a big Dane Cook guy when I was in high school, and there was a Dane Cook skit he would do. He's like, "There's that one friend in the friend group, who you're making plans in the group chat or like in person, and then they kind of like invite themselves along, and everyone's like, fucking Carl's coming." And everyone in the group like looks around and knows that they're pissed that Carl's coming. And if you're the guy who doesn't know what I'm talking about, you're Carl. This is Bennis. It's like anytime Bennis is like, "Oh, I'll come along," Dunk's like, "Fuck."
Yeah, no doubt about it.
And one quick thing is we get another mention of Eamon here. Dunk says Bennis was like a short guy, and he's like, "I know how tall I am. I'm 1 inch shy of 7 feet because Egg's brother Eamon measured me when we were at the Citadel."
Yeah.
Which is dope. So now Dunk has actually met your boy Maester Eamon, who again everybody knows is one of my favorite characters. This isn't really a spoiler, but in the Song of Ice and Fire series, there's a time when Eamon is like reminiscing about Egg, like getting drinks with Egg at a bar at the Citadel.
Yeah.
Dunk was definitely there. This is definitely when Dunk was there.
Yeah, he had to be there. He
awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's cool. Like I said, they got details. The details make the story matter.
And again, like if you can read this book having never read A Song of Ice and Fire or seen the show, and that is just like, oh, Egg's brother measured.
Just be committed. You just got to be committed.
So all right, so they're going to see track the river. What happens?
So they come up on. They followed far enough, and they see people building a dam, and they're like, "Hey, you can't do this. Like, we need water too." And they're like, "No, the Red Widows told us to build this dam. Blah blah blah." And Sir Bennis was like, "You're gonna take that dam down now." And he like takes out a sword and is just acting like a big hardo. And I think one of the builders talks back to him, and Bennis sticks the point of his sword like in his chest, deep enough to start to make him bleed. And then I think he says one more thing, like all the diggers.
Well, Dunk tells him to run. Dunk's like, "Get out of here! Run back and tell her to take the dam down." But like a couple guys stay. Like
but they're like grabbing their pitchforks and like, "We're gonna fight you right now."
And I wonder how many there are.
It
doesn't really say.
I think it's like 6 to 8. Yeah.
8. Yeah.
Okay. And then 3 run. So what? They think they're gonna win this 5-on-2 fight? It's not horrible.
There's 2 on horses though, right? They're both on horses.
Yeah. And they have chainmail. I'm sure these guys.
And they're
don't.
knights.
Yeah. So then the one guy is like, "We can't." The guy is like, "We can't fight him." And then, oh no, I guess you're right, Jeff. Bennis slashes this guy.
Bennis slashes that guy's mouth open.
And then Dunk says, "Run."
Just pure Joker style. Like, you want to know how I got these scars?
It's like from ear to
his ear
to like jaw, right?
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
Yeah. And that's when they're like, "Oh, we should fight." And the guy who's bleeding is like, "Nah, we'll go. We don't have to fight. We'll go."
Like, easy. My face is bleeding right now.
He's like, "We'll go tell the Red Widow, and we'll be okay." Yeah, he knows what'll happen if they tell the Red Widow. All right, so then they go back.
And Dunk knows that Bennis is just fucked up.
Yeah, obviously.
What an asshole.
And, like, oh, this guy's on my side. What the fuck?
All right, keep going, Us.
You're good. I was just gonna say, when they get back, we get the picture of Standfast for the first time.
This is where I was gonna go. I love how they describe it. It's like, oh, the castle. It is one tower. It's a tower on a hill.
I picture the tower that Bran is hiding in the show.
There's no walls.
Where Hodor goes crazy and he walks into him for the first time.
They needed more space, so they built into the ground.
Yeah.
It's just the littlest piece of shit ever.
I think they said it's 4 stories tall. It's a 4-story tall tower.
Oh, we see Egg is up at the stables. It's just like outside.
Yeah, it's like
outside of the tower. Yeah. Come on.
Yeah,
Come on, Eustace.
They ride up, and Egg comes down to take care of Dunk's horse. Right? And Bennis is like, "Take care of my horse too, boy."
Yeah,
Aegon gives him some lip.
"I'm not your squire."
Yes. This is when he gets a little spittle on him.
Yeah, on his feetsies.
Dunk's like, "Take care of him. He's a knight. Do what he says." And he like spits on.
Dunk gives him an old clout in the ear. Yeah. You're due for a clout in the ear.
Yeah.
Good old clout in the ear.
So Egg takes the horses and they start heading upstairs.
Okay, here's where we're about to meet Sir Eustace for the first time. Yeah. And knowing what we know now, again, if you haven't read up to page 92 in the hardcover. The part
192.
where Dunk gets 192. The part where Dunk gets slapped. Gonna be spoilers talking about the end because there's a lot of callbacks that happen early that I wonder if Jeff and Glow caught the first time. We find out that in the rebellion, Sir Eustace fought
for the Black Dragon.
For the traitors.
Yes.
And in this, when Dunk goes to see him,
I had no idea that.
But it's crazy because when Eustace talks, he's like, "Yeah, my sons died fighting for the king." Like he's still a rebel. He still believes that like this other guy is the rightful king.
What
Every
do you
time
mean?
he takes a drink,
you could die for fighting for the person who wins.
I know, but we know that they weren't.
But
we
he
know
said
they were
dies
fighting
for
for
the
the Black
king.
Dragon.
Did they say that?
Yeah, he says every time Sir Eustace takes a drink, he says for the king. And you know he's not talking about the king that killed his own family.
I was thinking he meant like maybe Baelor or like
yeah,
another
I think
king
that's what
that
they
died.
want you to think.
Okay.
But they never say it. So I think this whole time he's like secretly saying that he's a Blackfire supporter without ever actually saying it. He says
When
like,
I
for
was-
the
All right.
king.
I don't think the hints are there until they actually say it.
When
Okay,
I was
well, hold
reading
on.
it, I was like, "Is he for the Black Dragon?" Because he didn't say which king. He never really divulges which king he's for. And I was like, "All right, he's hiding something here."
Yeah, there's a few more parts that are a little more.
I mean,
hinty
maybe
towards
maybe
Black
the
Dragon.
shield
We'll get
when
to
he's
him.
got the shield.
So this
I don't
is
know
a
if
cool
there's
story. I was gonna actually like say the story. I wasn't gonna read it. I have a little summary that I wrote here. But yeah, so the thing I have is it says we found out that 3 of Sir Eustace's sons died fighting on the red grass field, which was the big battle during the rebellion. And it says Eustace would shout for the king whenever he took a drink, and he would visit the graves in the blueberry patch. So then this is when Dunk and Egg come up. This is what Dunk is thinking about Eustace before they see him for the first time. And when they do see him, he's holding a shield. Do you guys remember the story at all? I have all the details, so I can clean it up if you guys get something wrong. But
I think so. Glow, if you want to take it away, you
No
can.
recollection of it right now.
All right. So
I remember a story about a shield. That's about it.
So he talks about this was the shield of the
little lion.
the little lion,
and Bennis is like, "Oh, was he really small?" And he's like, "No, he was big. He was just the youngest son."
Yeah, and I don't know too much. I know he ends up like he sacrifices himself. I don't know the details of it.
So this was before Aegon the Conqueror comes over. So the Gardeners, which is why Highgarden's called Highgarden.
Right, there were 7 kings.
Yep. So the Gardeners were the kings in the Reach, and this is in the Reach.
Okay, and they're fighting the Lannisters.
No. The Reach is at war with the Stormlands. And the little
they used to
lion
fight
is
a lot.
the youngest of 5 sons.
Were they trying to come at both ends? Because there were people fighting the Lannisters. That's why he was in charge of
so there's
holding
5
off the
sons.
Stormlands.
Yeah, there's 5 sons, and the little lion is the youngest. And the Reach is at war with the Stormlands. So all the oldest brothers marched off to war with the Stormlands.
Okay, I'm all fucked up.
Yep.
He was there. He was there to hold off the Lannisters.
He was the only one left when the Lannisters attacked.
It was the little lion and the actual lions. That's kind of what fucked me up too, is that they were called the lions.
It's the Checky lions versus the Lannister lions, which is also fucked up because the Rains, like the Rains of Castamere, they're the lions too.
Yeah. So I think they were battling. I don't know if they go into details, but at some point the little lion is about to fight whoever Lannister's in charge at the time.
It's actually Lancel Lannister.
Oh yeah,
King Lancel Lannister, the 4th or 5th.
And I don't know if
and this guy has a Valyrian steel sword.
Yeah. So they're fighting. The little lion is getting cut up. His sword gets broken, and he gets in close enough, and he gets stabbed. But he gets in close enough that he can find the weakness in the armor, and he stabs.
Yeah, he gets like a dagger shot
with
in.
a dagger.
It says like as he gets cut in half. And again, all these stories are probably like later he tells a story where two people fought 1v1 in the middle of a battle at the Redgrass Field for an hour. Like obviously that didn't happen. Like there's little embellishment, right? But yeah, pretty cool story. And he has this shield, so you just got to think this shield has to be fucked up if it was taking Valyrian steel sword.
Well, yeah, I mean
it's
literally
years and years and years old.
It's a sliver of it. It's all rusted. There's
and
no
Dunk says that
paint
he
left.
can barely see any paint because it's so chipped up.
Yeah, there said there was like 1 chip left.
Yeah.
Which is just wild.
Yeah. So this is when Bennis tells him about the dam, and Sir Eustace just starts like reminiscing. He's like, "Oh man, we used to have so many good memories. Like my sons, I had my first kiss by there, like all kinds of shit." And he just kind of like he's not even thinking about. And they really point out how much Sir Eustace doesn't give a fuck about his small folk.
Yeah.
Because he's all about getting the water back, but it's because he has memories. Never once does he say like we need that for the crops. He's just like all about getting his like nostalgia.
Or the wine. He wants the wine.
Yeah. Well, and then that he's telling him like that we can't just go to our liege lord because our liege lord will back her. He likes
our
her
liege lord
better.
doesn't like me. I guess that's maybe the first hint
Yeah.
to
Little
why.
hint as why he's a black dragon guy.
And then this is when he starts talking real bad about the Red Widow. He's like, she's killed 5 husbands, and she took Lem and drowned him in a sack. And Bennis is like, no, his name, I never knew him. But his name was Dake.
Yeah.
And
so is this is it hinting at Eustace having fucking dementia?
I
Because he
don't
fucks
know.
up names like
There's a time where he
5
repeats
times.
himself later, but no, the
Yeah.
only name he ever messes up is Dake. And Lem, who the person he keeps mistaking him
Is
for,
still alive.
is alive and one of the people who comes and trains.
fighting. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Well,
I
isn't there
think
like 2 limbs? Or is that somebody else?
no,
There's 3 watts.
3 watts and
3
2 wills.
What a stupid little land.
I love it. The other thing I love in this chapter, and we'll get to it, but the Septon's name, Septon.
Sefton.
Yeah.
Sefton.
Yeah, so I don't know.
He's
if
a
it's,
great character. He's a
He is a
good
good
character.
character. I don't know if it's like Lo said, if it's pointing at like him having like a mental issue or like dementia type thing, or if it's
I
just,
could also see
he
it
doesn't
as
give a
him.
fuck about his.
He doesn't give a fuck, or he's trying to play it. He's trying to play stupid almost a little bit, like, oh, I'm just an old guy, like I make mistakes. And,
Yeah.
But he's also trying to portray this Red Widow right now as a really awful person.
Yep.
And we don't know anything about her other than she's a widow. She's
5
she's
times
lost,
widowed though.
I thought
So
it was
everybody
four-
says it's like
four-
poison
four-
involved.
4 times widowed.
Yeah, but I think Eustace says 5. She corrects it and says 4 later. But I think at this point we're supposed
And
to
she
say
has
5.
two kids that died too, right?
2 kids that died.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he points that out. Oh, she sacrificed them or something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
For,
And
She's-
people are like, oh, she's a poisoner or whatever.
She's writing spells for the shadow god or whatever the fuck they call him.
Yeah.
the stranger.
Stranger.
So this is when Dunk goes to rally the troops, and he tells Egg, he's like, I don't know, we're gonna get anywhere between 5 and 50. He's like, but I can't tell you that anything.
They go to one little fuckboy town. Do they go to more
They
towns
go
than that
to
one?
3 villages, but there's
Okay.
only 3 villages that he has control of now because he's got all his shit taken away. But there was a little conversation between Egg and Dunk here when Egg's talking about how he hates Sir Bennis, and Sir Bennis always pinches him, and it makes Dunk remember, like, oh, he used to do that shit to me, that sucked. I hate Dunk's like just hating Bennis.
Yeah.
Let me know if he does that. I'll fuck him up.
And there's a complaint that Egg has about Bennis and his horse.
They stink.
That he's never named him. It's like he doesn't even name his horse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what does Dunk tell him?
You get a good story about Sir Arlen and
Saying that he never told him never to name the horses, but he still always named them.
He went against it.
Because horses die.
Horses will die, and you don't want to grief about them.
And there's a little callback to this in a couple pages. So they get all their recruits. So like we said earlier, we got 3 Watts, 2 Wills, Lem Pate, and Big Rob. And Big Rob is like
stupid
slow.
as shit.
Yeah, really
he's like
dumb.
Hodor.
Yeah, he's
Hodor
Hodor
without
style.
Bran controlling him.
Yeah, exactly. So they're like start training them. They tell them to go get sticks and sharpen them. And it's just like, and Egg points it out later. They're using like shields made of branches that they tie together with branches.
Woven together branches.
And against like metal swords, and Egg's like a crossbow would go through that and just kill you.
He's like, yeah, that's all we got right now. We'll give them shields when they're ready.
Yeah. So Eustace comes out and gives a little
If they
pep
have
talk.
them. That's what he says. If we have them, we can give them shields.
The better part is that they had 12 guys, and they had to send 4 of them home.
Yeah, because 2 were too old, 1 was a girl, 2 were too young or something.
Yeah.
So they're down to 8.
What a joke. What a little joke castle. Which is why I was curious when, they gave the hedge knight definition like, oh, we only swear our swords to the causes we believe in. What made Dunk, I don't know if, I have self-control if you didn't listen to the last podcast, and I stopped at 192. Like, hopefully you guys are too if you're going along with us. I have no idea how this ends. I don't know if we find that reason out later, but it makes me wonder why he pledged his sword to this guy.
They don't divulge that information, but I think it's right. There's a huge drought going on. They just came from Dorne. I think they just needed to find work to do.
You wouldn't go to a bigger castle? You'd go to this little shit castle?
Well, they were saying that like great lords don't take hedge knights because they have their own lords. They have their own knights. They don't need hedge knights. The people who need hedge knights are guys like Sir Eustace who doesn't have anybody. And he's like, I'll give you food. I'll let you stay here. Maybe I'll give you some coin when you're done, but you got to help me if you help me for now. I think that's kind of like just how hedge knights work. Again, we're not really sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Eustace comes out and gives a little pep talk, like, the Red Widow is horrible. She killed Dake. Osgray, Osgray. And, like, they all start cheering, but it's got to be pitiful. It's like 8 guys and Egg.
Yeah.
So they're training, and they're just, like, horrible. And like, Dunk's like, okay, let's see what they can do. And I think he says he does, like, an 8-on-1. At least that's what the picture makes it look like.
Yeah, no, he definitely does. He throws on his armor, he takes his, like, a blunted sword, and just...
A wood sword, and just
cuts through him like a hot knife through butter.
And Lem, who was one of the guys who went to war before, is the only person who gets a shot on it.
And I think another guy named Pate, I don't know why Pate is a very popular name here.
Pate and Lem were the 2 that went to war. But I think Lem was the only one that got a hit on him.
Well, maybe it goes on later. Someone's like, well, at least Lem and this guy are actually formidable. Like, they can maybe do something.
I think, like, after they train, they go down, and, like, even though they're all sore, they all, like, it says, like, they all thought they were going to, like, win their, like, they're all hyped up that they're, like, getting to fight. Yeah. Normally they're just, like, farmers. And Pate is, like, telling war stories about when he's like, yeah, I looted a body and took some boots. They were too small for me, so I couldn't wear them, but I hung them up on my wall. I think that's, like, I don't know, just, like, what the small folk are getting hyped up about. They're, like, it's like getting drafted.
I guess.
Not into into the military. I was thinking more like getting drafted on the football team. Just like getting to go practice with the guys. So then Egg and Dunk go downstairs, and Egg starts getting Dunk's bath ready because he's been training all day and he's super sweaty. And while they're talking, Egg's like, we can't do this. Like, these guys are going to die. Did you see them out there? And Dunk's like, it's war. And he's like, this isn't war. This is stupid.
This is stupid.
And Egg is like, and Dunk says, like, this is the same type of war that your father does, and this is one of the lessons that I think is, like, really, like, brightening, like, eye-opening for Egg, right? He's like, one of the Wills is going to get married next time. One of the guys hasn't even kissed a girl, and Big Rob can't tell his right from his left. And Dunk's like, there's a ton of people that go off to war in your father's army that have never kissed a girl, that have just got married and don't know their right from their left. And he's like, it's the same thing. And I think it just makes Dunk value soldiers more, right? Like, to just most
life,
lords,
I think just life in general. Like, everyone has a life, and a lot of the High Lords, or even, I mean, especially the Kings, are like, well, fuck it, I'm going to send that Vanguard. The Vanguard's going to die, but they're going to help me win this battle. They just don't care for genuine people or small folk.
Yeah, exactly, and it's good learning for Egg. He'll know in the future if or when he becomes king. Another
character moment, I think, for Egg that I remember, and I just found a quote. Dunk tells him that when all the small folk come, he's going to have to serve them like he serves Dunk. And he's like, serve small folk? And he says, like, when was the first time you trained with a sword? And Egg says...
Did he fuck him up on the ear there?
Not there, I don't think. Egg says, I was little, sir. The sword was made from wood. And Dunk says, common boys fight with wooden swords too. Only theirs are sticks and broken branches, Egg. These are men. They may seem like fools to you. They won't know the proper names for bits of armor or the arms of great houses, or which king it was who abolished the Lord's Knight to the first right, but treat them with respect all the same. You're a squire born of noble blood, but you're still a boy. Most of them will be men grown. A man has his pride no matter how low-born he may be. You would seem just as lost and stupid in their villages, and if you doubt that, go hoe a row, shear a sheep, and tell me the names of the weeds and wildflowers in Watts Wood. The boy considered for a moment. I could teach them the arms of great houses and how Queen Alisane convinced King Jaharis to abolish the first knight. And they could teach me which weeds were best for making poisons and whether those green berries are safe to eat.
That was like a little cool part. It's him.
I like Dunk's next line too. Go ahead,
He's like, they could, but before you get to King Jaharis, you'd best help teach them how to use the spear, and don't go eating anything that Maester won't.
Yeah, don't go anything that Maester won't.
That's like really good advice, and
that's like the most wisdom that that we've heard Dunk say. Dunk the Lunk just came out with a great fucking line.
Well, I think it's a great example of what Dunk just said. He's like,
right.
Highborns can teach lowborns some stuff, but lowborns can teach highborns some stuff. So
exactly.
And then right after he says that, Egg, a highborn, teaches Dunk which king abolished the Knight to First Right, and Dunk teaches Egg how to know what stuff's good to eat. Like, that's probably the rule that most lowborn go by, is don't eat what the animals don't eat.
Yeah.
Yeah, hold on. Let me find the other quote when he's talking about these people. Okay, I found it. Egg says, they might be killed, sir. Wet Wat is... Okay, hold on. So I also love the names that they give for these Watts. So we got 3 Watts and 2 Wills.
I've got to take a piss before we dive into this guy.
All right, piss break question, Jeff. What's our question?
Who would you rather take down, Brienne of Tarth or Tansel Too Tall?
Like, what do you mean, sex?
Take down. You heard what I said.
I don't know what that means. I mean, I'd bang Tansel.
This is obviously Tansel. Brienne is like,
I'll go.
again, not to be super shallow, but Brienne is only ever described as super disgusting.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, 100%.
And Tansel Too Tall is just kind of described as beautiful.
She's hot and tall. She's just too tall for other guys.
I can't believe that took Jeff like time to think about that question. Ridiculous.
I had a good question the one day. I forget who it was though. It was Barristan versus somebody. No, I think it was Barristan versus the Red Viper. All right, Jeff, Barristan or Red Viper?
Why did you guys talk about what I said?
We both agree Tansel.
We did, but it's an obvious question. You're like, would you rather bang a hot chick or an ugly chick? That was a stupid question.
We don't know if she's actually hot. We have one opinion of her.
But every single quote about Brienne is like, she's literally the ugliest person in the books.
Yeah, but she might have a full body.
I think they say she's flat-chested. Jamie sees her with her shirt off.
All right.
All right, so let's get into these names. Do you remember how they name? So we got 3 Watts and 2 Wills.
I know a lot of it. So a lot of it's based off of the crop that they made. So there's some barley, there's some corn,
There's barley, corn, beans,
melon,
and then there's like melon, cabbage, carrot. So they go with melon because nobody wants to eat cabbage.
But then there's a couple Watts that make the same crop.
So this is funny because 2 of the Watts are actually brothers, so they're from the same village. And Bennett says, "What? Did your mom was so stupid she didn't know any other names?" Which is ridiculous, especially when you don't have last names. Not that would help with brothers, but to name both your kids the exact same thing.
Well, it's kind of like the phrase though. There's a bunch of fucking Walders, Waldens, and all that.
Yeah, I guess. All right, so how did they distinguish the 2 Watts? The younger one.
I know one becomes Wet Watt
Because he tells a story that when he was a kid, he fell down a well. and there's 2 Wills, and one of the other Wills gets called Treb. Why do they call him Treb?
Because he could throw rocks. They call him Treb.
They're like, do any of you have any combat experience? And Will's like, I can throw rocks. And Bennett's like, oh, he got a goddamn trebuchet over here.
Yeah, this is funny because in high school we had twins on our team, and the only way our coach could tell them apart is the one had a chipped tooth, so he called him Chip.
I love just little shit like that. Like, that does not matter at all. You can definitely write this story with 8 villagers that have different names. It just like adds to like the realness and like how small folks just like don't give a fuck about that kind of shit.
The details are the big story.
All right, so I'm gonna get into this quote by Dunk when he's like getting concerned for their well-being, and he says, "No, this is Egg and Dunk talking when he's getting the bath." Egg says, "They might be killed, sir. Wet Watt still have a boy. Will Barleycorn is to be married the next time the septon comes, and Big Rob doesn't know his left from his right." Dunk left the empty kettle thud down onto the hard-packed earthen floor. Roger of Pennytree was younger than Wet Watt when he died on the Redgrass field. There were men in your father's host who'd just been married too, and other men who'd never kissed a girl. There were hundreds who didn't know their left from their right foot, maybe thousands. That was different, Egg insisted. That was war. So is this. Same thing, only smaller. Smaller and stupider, sir. That's not for you or me to say, Dunk told him. It is their duty to go to war when Sir Eustace summons them, and to die if need be. Then we shouldn't have named them, sir. It will only make us grief harder for them when they die.
It's a call back to the horsies.
I love that. To the horse. Yeah, exactly.
Good line.
And then Egg says, we should use my boot.
Yeah.
What's that mean?
He wants to tell everyone that he's a Targaryen. He's Egg Targaryen. Yeah. I picked up on that immediately.
Yeah, okay. I just knew that Glow was going to say it, so I figured I'd get it out before.
I don't know why they're calling it a boot, though. It doesn't make sense. But.
Okay. The thing that he thinks next is, how many eyes does Lord Bloodraven have? 1,000 eyes and one. And I think it's more just because, like, kind of how... I think it's he's kind of doing, like, what Littlefinger does with Sansa. How, like, when she, early on at the Vale, when it's just the 2 of them alone, she'll, like, say that she's Sansa and stuff. And he's, like, never, not even when we're alone, should you say that you're Sansa? There could always be people listening.
Yeah.
And I think that's what Dunk's thinking here, because Egg is like, let's use my boot. Let's use my boot. My father. And he's thinking like, man, I hope nobody hears this right now. Like, there's people in this tower.
I mean, they're also saying boot. Like, what the fuck does that mean?
Yeah, but he's saying more than just boot.
Yeah, that's true. But okay.
All right, so this is where we have the dream. Glow, you want to tell us what this dream's about? Dunk's dream.
Yeah, so Dunk's dream, basically he's burying his horse by that tree.
Chestnut.
In Dorne.
Chestnut.
He's burying it in Dorne, in the sands of Dorne.
Yeah, in the sands of Dorne, and like all the lords are laughing at him. Basically, the Dornish lords are laughing. Like, why are you burying the horse? It's just a horse. And
he's crying.
Yeah, he's crying as it's happening, and then he gets visions of like all the townspeople that they have in the war, and like
No, he gets visions of Sir Arlen,
Sir Arlen,
Sir Baelor Breakspear,
Sir Baelor Breakspear, and
Valar, his son. Then he sees the
then he
image
starts
of
seeing the
Big
townspeople.
Rob. Yeah, Big Rob in the pit, in the
And
grave
they got
he's
like
digging.
blood on all over him, like basically all dead.
Yeah, and all the like Sir Arlen and Baelor Breakspear are like, oh, you're crying for your horse, but you never cried when I died.
Yeah, he's like, yeah, you didn't cry for me, you dick.
And then Bennis is saying like, you better dig some more graves there, Lunk. 8 more for all these guys, and then 3 for me, you, and Egg.
Isn't it kind of like quicksand too? Like it keeps filling up or something like that. And
Yeah, so
it's just like really soft sand.
tells-
Or Egg starts thinking with him.
yeah, and Dunk says it's like trying to dig a hole in the ocean, which is I think it's like just like a great like mental picture. You're just like, because like digging a hole at the beach is different because that sand's wet and kind of packs.
Well, it's definitely doable. People dig holes all the time
At the beach, but I'm saying in a desert is different because that sand is not wet. Like what holds the sand in walls is that it's wet.
yeah.
You know what I mean? You can't make a straight wall with dry sand.
Once you get deep enough, yeah, I agree.
Yeah. So it just like and then he tells Egg to run and the sand piles him and Egg gets buried alive. And that's when he wakes up. And this is kind of like Dunk's awakening like, shit, these guys are all going to die if we do this fight.
Yeah. So he wakes up.
Basically, anxiety attack.
I like that he goes to sleep then, right? Or was he?
That was
he
a dream.
asleep?
Yeah,
Okay.
so he's asleep.
I like that they're sleeping on the roof. We didn't say that, but they're
Yeah.
kind of under the stars and not in their bed, which is probably really uncomfortable. They're sleeping on what, like a stone?
Yeah, they don't say. They say there was straw. They had straw pallets, but they didn't like to sleep on them. They like to
They're
sleep on the roof
sleeping on-
instead. So
Yeah.
There's all the fleas and shit in the beds. too,
Everyone
like
has
that.
lice. Yeah. But so
yeah.
he wakes up and he's like, I need to go talk to Sir Eustace, right?
no,
And-
so they actually train one more day. Well, yeah, they train one more
He
with
rides
the
at
shield
him.
wall. Yeah.
Yeah, and he just rides at him on Thunder, and Thunder doesn't know to stop because he's trained to just run fucking through him, and they just run for the hills.
Yeah,
and he's
Big
like,
Rob just books
this
it.
isn't gonna fucking work.
Yeah.
Like, we can't do this. And I mean, honestly, they can't. We're talking about a big castle versus 8 people.
Yeah.
So he goes up
Come on,
to.
son.
Does he go up to Sir Eustace, or is
Yeah,
he
so he
watching?
goes to Sir Eustace and Sir Eustace is like, we've had after like a couple like in a fortnight they'll be good, and he's like, yeah, but we don't know, like they could come tomorrow and just fuck us up, and we're like, screwed.
He's like,
He's
"We
like,
don't
there
have
has
a
to be
fort-
another way,
We don't have a fortnight.
and that's when he says like, okay, we can pay the blood price the old way.
Yeah.
So what's the blood price, Glow? How's that work?
Isn't it like if someone dies, you can pay the Lord the amount of money he thinks that he's owed for that, just to pay it off, basically?
Yeah,
You pay the
money for
Lord
a life.
what the life was worth.
Yeah, exactly.
Or what
So-
the injury was worth.
So what's he? And this is again super fucked up. What's his offer? You guys remember? Jeff, you just read this.
3 silvers. 3 silvers for the Red Widow and 1 for
That's
the guy.
so fucked up. The guy who got hurt gets 1, and the widow gets 3. That's bullshit.
That's how it works in that society, man.
Yeah. So, but then we hear that Eustace can't go to cold mode. He like swore he'd never go there again. So he's like, Dunk's like, okay, I'll go. So then we get Egg. So then this is where Dunk takes another bath, and Egg's like, "What the fuck are you doing? You've showered like bathed like 3 times this month." And he's like, "I have to see a highborn lady. I have to be my cleanest." And this is when we find out that Egg wants to be a Kingsguard, and because they're talking about like, do you remember this? They're talking about potion because Egg's like, "Don't drink anything when you go there because she's a poisoner." and he's like hates girls. And he's like, one time, one of my
Yeah.
sisters put like a love potion in one of my drinks to
Yeah.
get me to fall in love with her instead of my sister. And first off, Dunk's like, this incest thing is way
What?
too
Yeah,
normal.
like
for you.
Targaryens are strange.
Yeah, he just threw that out there like it was just okay. Like, yo, chill.
Which
then
is
he's
why
like-
Dany and Jon should have been happily ever after. Or madly ever after.
Yeah,
Madly ever after.
And Dunk's like, so did the potion work? Like, did you fall in love with the other sister? And what does Egg say he did?
And he didn't drink enough of it. If he
He
drank
said he
any
spit
more,
it out
he spit it out.
because
It
what does he
tasted
want to
funny
do?
or something, right?
Well, no,
Oh, he wants to be a.
he wants to be a Kingsguard. Yeah, he never wants to get married. He wants to be
Yeah.
a Kingsguard. And then Dunk says like, you might not if you like
You might not
waited
if you
to
knew-
be old, or anything about
Yeah.
Tanzel.
Which somebody else said that. Didn't Ned say that to Bran? Like, you might change if once you figure out what you'd be giving up.
No,
Somebody
what's his
says
name
that.
says it to John.
Yeah, Benjen says it to John, and this is a theory. Okay, I'm not going to do any spoilers. Does Benjen know what we all know? Right? Is that why he tells John this when he says you don't know what you'd be giving up? Does Benjen know? Because John is giving up everything.
Know what?
That he's a Targaryen.
Spoilers.
Spoiler.
That he's the rightful heir. Because there's a difference between, okay, you don't know what you'd be giving up. You'd be giving up the chance to be a father.
Here's
or
the thing,
you
though.
don't know what you'd be giving up. You're the heir to the fucking everything. You're giving all that up by doing this.
Why not just whisper it in his ear at that moment?
Because he promised Ned he wouldn't tell anybody.
Fuck Ned. He knew he was never going to see him again. I'll tell you about your mother next time. You fucking bastard. You're a bastard, Ned.
All right, so Egg wants to go to Coldmoat, which is the castle where the Red Widow lives.
And he's like, no.
Dunk's like, fuck no. But Egg,
Ye-
being way smarter than Dunk,
It
Goes
just
the
goes
fastest.
right the way. Yeah, he's
So-
so much smarter than him.
he just wakes up early.
You're talking about street smarts. He's still got him. He knows the way. Of
So
the,
what is
the
Egg's
mind of
argu-
the lords?
What's Egg's argument to Dunk?
He
Knights
must
look
wait.
better with a squire.
Yeah.
Beat you to it, Glow.
Yep. So then Dunk's like, nah, it's not safe. You're a Targaryen. You can't. There could actually be danger here. You're staying here.
They might kill you.
And the next morning he wakes up, and Egg has Thunder saddled. He's sitting on Maester. Sir Eustace is there, and
He's
when
dressed in all the Sir Eustace clothes.
kids, yeah. And when Dunk walks up, Sir Eustace says, "I've decided that a knight looks better with a squire by his side." So I thought, and
Fucking Egg.
and it says like Dunk just looks at Egg and says like clout in the ear, and Egg.
Yeah, he mouths it.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. But he
Clout in the
also is
ear.
like, man, that little fucker is smart.
Yeah, exactly.
But he's like, I'm gonna fuck you up.
So here's big hint that on the Black Dragon thing. When they're walking,
the
Sir
whole
Eustace
story?
tells a
Yeah.
story. And the first thing he says is, the fight was way closer than they'll have you believe. He's like, the Black Dragon almost won. And
Yeah, there's like a couple instances.
so I'm going to give a real high level of this thing, because I got the notes. So basically what happens is, everybody thinks that Baelor and Maekar, who we met last book, were the ones that won this battle. They called them the Hammer and the Anvil.
Yeah. But it was Daemon.
No, Daemon Blackfire
Daeron.
is the rebel.
Daeron won it.
It was Bloodraven who won it.
Bloodraven won it.
Yeah.
Bryden.
Brendan
Yeah.
Rivers. Brendan Rivers, yeah. Because they say that Daemon Blackfire, who is the rebel, the guy who
Yeah.
the rebels wanted to be king, Daemon Blackfire, the Black Dragon, was fighting the Hand of the King, who Sir Arlen was served for at the time. I forget that guy's name. He's just a lesser lord. But he fights him and kills him. And Daemon Blackfire is honorable, so he is like getting that guy's body off the battlefield instead of continuing on. He's like getting this honorable guy's body off the battlefield. Again, who knows how much of this is embellished, just being told by...
Is he dead or is he like
He's
wounded?
dead. Completely dead. Yeah, he got like sliced in the face. And it said that they fought, I think they both had Valyrian steel swords, and like anytime it would hit, they would like clang.
It would clang and you could hear it
Kind of
It's like
described,
Screech,
a
right?
league away or something like
kind of
that.
described a little bit like
The White Walkers.
White Walker's sword. Yeah. And
Oh, yeah, I didn't think of that.
Bloodraven is actually because Daemon Blackfire tries to get this guy's body off the battlefield. Eustace says that he should have been like trying to get the flank of this thing. He's like talking tactics. Basically, he says because he lingered too long on this guy's body, Bloodraven was able to get close enough to just like rain down. And they call him the Raven's Teeth, and it's just like an archer.
Yeah.
I think you find out in the next half. It's not really a spoiler. It's an archer group. It's not like a group of soldiers. They're all archers, and they rain
It makes
down.
sense now that you told me that.
Especially
he was
because
an archer.
And they say that he got hit by 7 arrows.
Yeah.
And
kept fighting.
And Eustace says that it wasn't just that Bloodraven was really good. It's that he was able to like steer the arrows with magic. He's like he was hit with more like arrows because of sorcery more than skill or something like that.
Yeah.
So basically, this guy dies. Then Bloodraven kills his 2 sons, who become heirs. Kind of like when Khal Drogo says he killed 2 cows because he killed the cow then his son. That's kind of what Bloodraven does. And then this is when Bittersteel, who we know from Song of Fire and Ice is the founder of the Golden Company, flees across the Narrow Sea. But he says it's a lot closer than people thought. If he would have, instead of trying to pick up that body, would have kept riding, he thinks the Black Dragon would have won.
Wait, Bittersteel's a leader of fucking Golden Company?
He's the founder. Yeah.
He's dead. He's dead by that time.
Yeah, his head is his skull is the golden one on the spike.
But yeah, the whole thing about the Golden Company, you probably know, it was that they were going to come back at some point and
they tried.
restart.
There was the 9 penny kings. Or
9 penny
like
kings.
Yeah, I think that was when they tried to cross the broken arm. Again, doesn't really matter for this story. So we get this story, and then Eustace kind of turns back and goes back. Oh, one thing Eustace says, like, she was fond of my son who squired there, Adam. But they were friends. So when they're riding there, Egg is trying to give Dunk the night before they were talking about like what Dunk's gonna say to this lady, and Egg's giving him some pointers.
Flirting 101. Tell her gown brings out the color of her eyes.
Tell her she has soft hair.
Yeah. Tell her
and Dunk says,
tell her your smile is nice. Even ugly girls have something that looks good on them.
Or where does Egg hear that from? His drunk
Daron.
brother. His drunk brother,
Daron?
Daron. He's like, even the ugliest of whores can have well-shaped ears.
Yeah.
And Dunk says, well, if I say the wrong thing, she'll put me in a sack and drown me. And Egg says,
she's got to find a sack for you that's big enough.
Didn't know she has a sack big enough. Yeah. So they roll up and they get there, and there's like 2 guards at the gate. Oh, Egg sees something when they're on the way in.
It's where the river is actually flowing to.
They're using the water to fill up the moat of Cold Moat, not just as irrigation.
Yeah.
So they go in, and like there's 2 guards, and Egg talks back to the guards. So they don't let him in. They make Egg stay outside, and they take Dunk to Longinch, who's 6'7", which is like my height. Dunk is a hand taller than this guy, so he's like, they say he's 6'11", so they say that
You're 6'5", lucky.
6'7", bruh. 6'6", but I wear Timbs all the time, so I'm gonna give myself 6'7".
I'm 5'8", 5'7" and 3/4
on a good day.
5'7" and 3/4. That's what my thing says.
All right,
License.
so going on.
Yeah, so we get Sir Lucas Longinch. That's not actually his name. Longstrider or something.
It's Longinch.
No, it's
Longinch.
Inchfield.
Oh.
Sir Lucas Inchfield, but everybody
They
calls him
call him
Longinch
Longinch,
because he's tall. Yeah, and he's talking to my boy Septon Sefton. Sefton. So fucking George R. Martin.
Just a drunk fat Septon.
Yeah.
Clammy hands and super fat.
Yeah. So what happens with Longinch?
So Longinch is like, no, you're not wasting time. Like, bring us back Barris, and then maybe we'll talk to you.
Yeah.
But Septon seems like he's either a drunk and just like wants to talk to people, or he's just like kind of a nice guy and just he convinces
Longinch to let him do it.
Yeah, Longinch to like, all right, we'll take you to the Red Widow. We'll take you to our Lord. So everyone starts coming out the Sept, and this like ugly girl in like shitty clothes, or
Super
he's
fat.
like old.
Kind of what
He's
we were
like-
all picturing the Red Widow look like.
Yeah, and Dunk just like starts spewing out all this shit, and she's like, "What are you talking about?
She's like kind of going along with it. Because Dunk's like, the dam you put up, and she's like, oh yeah, the dam, because she probably had no idea.
But then she gets really embarrassed about it and like starts crying.
Does she?
Well, he says something, and Longinch is like, "What are you trying to mount her or something like that?" And that's when
Then
she
you
gets
start
all
get-
like, "Oh,
Yeah, that's exactly what she does.
oh my god!"
So then the real Red Widow comes up. This was a girl who was shooting arrows.
25-year-old.
She was shooting arrows in the yards. 5 feet tall.
5 foot, 4'11".
4'11", covered in freckles everywhere.
Touched with fire.
Super long hair. They say that when she's sitting down, it like comes over her shoulder and coils in her lap like a cat.
Yeah.
It's a long ass hair.
Yeah.
So this is when Dunk tries to hit her with some of Egg's lines.
And
he's like,
fucks
he's
them
like,
all
"You're
up.
my lady, your dress." And she's
your
like,
gown. She's like, I'm not wearing a gown.
He's like, I mean, your hair is very soft. She's
How
like,
would you know that? You haven't
like-
touched my hair.
Yeah, he's like, I meant red.
I would have remembered if you touched my hair. Did you touch my hair?
Yeah. So then, basically, she's like, okay, go wait for me in my chambers, and
I'm gonna go get dressed. Yeah.
Yeah.
The Septon takes them there, and they just get. I just imagine them just like getting hammered.
Yeah.
And the Septon is just going off at the mouth about all the stories about how some of her husbands died, and he wished that Dunk was a suitor because we find out that if she doesn't find a husband in the next couple days or so, like weeks,
pretty
3
soon.
weeks.
Yeah.
she's gonna lose being lord of the castle because it was in her father's will.
Yeah. The rule was if like she
Gives a
wasn't
long
married,
age, right?
yeah,
And
if she wasn't
and
married
the anniversary.
2 years after her father's death,
Yeah.
she has to marry Longinch.
Yeah.
So they're going in, and the Septon's telling them all this shit. So first, before the Septon comes in, Egg's like, he's like, don't eat, don't drink anything. And the Septon's like, oh, the poison gives it a better taste. And like winks at Egg.
He's great. I want to meet Septon.
Well, it's funny because the Red Widow hits the Septon with one of these when she comes in, because the Septon's telling this story, right? He's like, yeah, I think the Lannister has the best shot because he has golden hair. And she walks in, she's like, and the Red Widow is fond of his letters. She's like, you would be wrong. He would never give up Lannisport for this shitty castle or whatever.
Yeah.
And he says like, and you, Septon, have the biggest mouth in Westeros. And
he was
maybe
like,
the best quote in all of the books is, a large belly requires a large mouth.
Yes.
Else it soon becomes a small one. That's going to be like a go-to quote for me for now on.
Yeah.
Nelson, you got a big mouth.
Large belly requires a large mouth.
Gotta have it.
We didn't really even hit on. Dunk is really feeling.
Oh, yeah. He
The
says,
Red
like,
Widow.
there's a part where she, like, is touching his, because he's wearing a Dornish,
his
Dornish
elm.
thing. And she, like, touches it, and he's like, he could feel her fingers through the fabric. And he's like, her hand was freckled. He's like, he wondered if she was freckled all over.
Yeah. He is so horny right now for this girl. All right, so let's pause there. And we don't have to take long, but I can just imagine this because, like we said earlier, the illustrations really paint the picture for what these characters look like.
If you flip forward, there's a... If you flip forward without reading, I think there's a topless Red Widow pic in here.
Ooh.
I don't think she ever
haven't.
gets topless, but I think there's a topless Red Widow pic in here.
I haven't. But for just a little bit of fun, I'll pick 4. We'll go Dunk, Egg, Red Widow, and Baelor. Okay, Baelor Breakspear. Mm-hmm. Pick 4 mainstream actors now that could play those people if they.
Dunk.
If they made it. No, I said mainstream actors, you dumb fuck.
I could be mainstream.
Dunk, Egg, Baelor,
and Red Widow.
Alright, so Egg, I would have to go with 11.
Yeah.
From
A girl?
Stranger Things.
She's a girl, but okay.
Just because she's bald, right?
Yeah. Dunk, a beefed up Owen Wilson.
I have a good one for Dunk, I think. It should be Thor.
I was
should be
thinking
like-
Chris Hemsworth, but he's not that tall. He's like...
You
Yeah,
can
it's gotta
make
be a
him
super
You
tall
can make
guy.
him tall. Owen Wilson isn't.
I
Owen
know,
Wilson might be like 5'7".
It was a joke! It was a joke!
Alright, I think Thor. Based off that picture, like he looks like Thor.
Also, Dunk's only 20.
Yeah, I mean you gotta age him up, age him down. The Red Widow, I really want like an Amy Adams. Big
So,
Amy
I'm
Adams
thinking too,
fan.
but she's too tall.
Who's Amy Adams?
She's the girl.
The purse
in...
seller in The Office.
Yeah, or she's in The Fighter with Mark Wahlberg.
she's
and-
not the lady in the House of Cards. She's not the
No,
ginger
no,
one.
no,
That's
no,
a different.
no.
I get her and Amy Adams confused.
There's no freckled mainstream actor.
I think that girl is better. I think that girl is
like
better.
like a young Lindsay Lohan would have been.
Yes.
Like
I think the
like-
girl from House of Cards would be really good for her.
I like her. She's good too. I forget. I think her name's Kara. I
think
know her
Baylor.
last name.
I think Tom Hanks.
Tom Hanks was. That's a great Baylor.
That's
Baylor.
great Baylor.
Like, because he's like he's getting
reading.
aged up. Like Tom Hanks getting a little old. I saw him in an interview with somebody the other day, and I think
Tim Allen.
He could be,
Tim
Tim
Allen.
Allen. He could be a good Baylor.
Toy Story 4.
Yeah, that's a really good one.
I just had that thought. I just want to take a little bit of time.
All right, who we going with Dunk besides Chris Hemsworth? I don't like that one.
Yeah, I'm
I
trying.
mean, you gotta think of someone like absurdly tall.
I'm thinking like you have to pick I'm thinking like a college
like a basketball player. Yeah, like Kelly Olynyk.
I don't know any college basketball. Oh, who's that guy from Duke? The
Um,
guy that everybody hates.
The three brothers.
Christian
Oh.
Laettner.
No.
No, the one
young
that
guy.
everybody hates.
Grayson Allen.
Yeah. How tall is he? He's not 7 foot.
He's probably like 6'5", 6'4", but he
Oh,
doesn't have
the
long hair.
super ugly dude on the Sixers.
Oh, God.
Boban.
No, Igauskas.
Who was the...
Chris Anderson, Birdman
Plumlee?
Anderson,
No, not Plumlee. Who am I thinking
Miles Plumlee. There was a bunch of Plumlees. There was three.
There's
that
three
went to Duke.
Plumlees. I'm thinking of two brothers.
If
in the
Stone
NBA.
Cold wasn't bald, he could be dunked.
No,
You're thinking of
Kevin.
Gasol.
No,
Paul-
Kevin. He doesn't have a brother.
Yeah, you're right. Gasol
Kevin
for-
Love.
on-
Kevin Love.
Okay, Kevin Love too. Yeah.
All right, we're getting way off topic. I said actors. They do an awful job. All right, back to now. The Red Widow sitting on her chair, and she just looked like a smoke show.
So they're just flirting at first. Like they don't
Yeah.
before they get into anything like important. They're just like flirting. She's like, "Whoa, you like she's like, "Are you as strong as you appear?" And he's like, "Oh, how strong do I appear?" And she's like,
Yeah.
"Enough to annoy Sir Lucas." They're just like
They're
back
just
and
playing
forth.
at each
Yeah.
other, and then she asks him to fight for her,
And
or
here-
to swear the sword.
Here, I sent this snap to Glow because I don't think you had read it at the time. She says, "Your speech suggests you were not born of noble blood, if you forgive my saying so. A hedge knight named Sir Arlen of Pennytree took me on as a squire for him when I was just a boy. He taught me chivalry and the arts of war. And this same Sir Arlen knighted you?" Dunk shuffled his feet. One boot was half unlaced, he saw.
Yeah,
Definitely not a knight.
definitely
Yeah,
not.
he's... Yeah.
Every single time somebody asks him if he's a knight, he like looks down or his ears get red or...
Yeah. So it makes me curious if at the end of the third story he actually gets knighted in a real way.
Yeah, that'd be cute.
Like if he's honest about it. Which don't tell me. I don't want to know anything.
And-
I've got hope that Egg as king truly knights him in
That'd
the
be
end.
sweet. Because Egg is probably like the only person that Dunk could be real with and be like, "Yo, look, I never got knighted.
Yeah.
Can you knight me?"
That's what's gonna happen. That's my end of book 3 prediction.
And
straight into Kingsguard.
And the reason I would love that is because it's kind of like what the Hound is always saying.
Yeah.
How he's like, the Hound's pretty honorable, and he's like, being a knight isn't what makes you a good guy. He's like, look at my brother,
Yeah.
look at like all these other knights.
Yeah. I like to kill people.
There's knights and knights.
There's knights and knights. So we find out what happened, how she's the Red Widow, and it's like all circumstantial, right? She had like a 12-year-old husband when she was 10, who died in the war. Her second one, she was like 14.
The second one was
And
55.
he was 55. And she had a kid, and then the kid died like 3 days later, and then the husband
No, the
died,
husband
too.
died. I think
the
the
kid-
husband died, and then the kid died.
Kid died.
Because the kid didn't even live 3 days.
Yeah.
The one husband died in the spring fever.
In the spring fever. Yeah, we just find out like everybody died of like reasonable ways, and her first husband was when she was 10, which is how she's
Yeah.
had 4 in 15 years.
Is the spring fever bubonic plague?
I think it has
It's
something to do with
plague-ish
the
for
plague.
sure.
Because I think
They burned all the bodies. That's not good.
and the Septon says, when he's talking to the Septon was saying that I served in King's Landing recently, and he was saying there was no rats. He's like, I've never seen a city without rats. And the plague spread through rats, right?
Yeah.
Which I think is like the hint that it's the plague.
Yeah.
Oh, another thing. So, 2 Targaryens died. I thought they didn't get sick like common people did.
They weren't the blood of the dragon.
They were Baelor's sons.
I feel like every Targaryen's not as strong as the other one. Like Daenerys was obviously stronger than
Viserys.
You're right though,
Viserys.
because doesn't Dany say like she doesn't?
She's
get
never.
sick like
was that in
common
the
people?
show or is that in the book?
Yeah, I don't know. I think I don't know.
Yeah. No, she walks amongst the common people when the pale mare.
The pale
goes-
mare. Yeah.
Yeah,
I just
yeah,
feel
strong.
like Viserys would have been sick though with the Pale Mare. Like if he did the same thing, it kind of shows you. Oh well, that Targaryen's.
It's like the
Oh,
fire
the-
in her blood
a
is like burning
Targaryen.
away the bacteria. or
Yeah,
whatever.
something like that. Or like just some Targaryens are more worthy than others, and that's why they wasted Dany being the Mad Queen.
So then they started talking about why Dunk came. He's like, we want the water back. Here's the blood price. She's like, the blood price? How old is Sir Osgray? Like that hasn't been a thing since like before Aegon the Conqueror.
Yeah.
She says, we suffer no attacks on Cold Moat or its people. So tell me why I should not have you sewn in a sack. And Dunk hits her with Egg's joke. You don't have a sack big enough for me?
And she smiles.
And
she
she
loved
smiles. Yeah, she's a big fan.
it. She
Again-
wants nothing more than the bed Dunk right now.
Yeah, she just wants to fuck him so hard.
Yeah, so they talk and this is when we find out. So first off, she's like, I'm not having the blood price because it basically says like I'll let people hurt my men and then just accept gold for it. It kind of like dishonors her. And Dunk says like, get the guy. Ask the guy if he'd rather have gold or Bennis hurt. And
Yeah.
she's like, I'm not gonna do that.
Oh,
'cause
I know he'll take the silver.
Yeah, I think that's a great.
Which makes it seem like a silver is a decent amount.
Yeah.
Silver's definitely a good amount.
And
It's
this
something
is
to like shake your head about.
like a smart. That's a smart.
Moved by the Red Widow, for sure.
Smart move by Dunk. Dunk
Oh,
made
yeah.
which
But it's
I've
also
been saying this whole time. He's getting smarter through the books.
yeah, but the Red Widow just shuts it down. Like she's
Yeah.
way past those games.
Yep. So then we find out that he's like, okay, well, we at least need the water. Like, maybe I can go get Bennis and bring him back if I talk to Eustace, but he's not going to agree to anything unless you give him the water. And she's like, it's his water anyway. It's called the Checky water. And this is when we find out it's not his water. He
Yeah.
lost it when he fought for the Black Dragon. So this is when we find out he fights for the Black Dragon. He fights for the Black Dragon because he hopes that if they win, because he took the Black Dragon side and these people, the Red Widow family, took the Targaryen side. If the Black Dragon wins, he thinks that he would get Cold Moat back, which was
Yeah.
like his super old ancestral home. Then they pull out this paper. And
King's decree.
Royal decree saying that it's hers.
Dunk can't read.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, come here. Your eyes are a little sharper than mine.
He's like, I can't make out this one word. And this makes me think, like, how long is this royal decree? If it's like a paragraph, and he's like, I can't make out this one word, and then Egg's like, okay, got it. Yeah. You know, it's like, obviously Dunk can't read then. Yeah, but we find out that after the Blackfire Rebellion, all that water was given to her, or instead of the Osprey.
Which is weird that you're actually claiming water.
Yeah, I don't. There's like weird.
It's got to be a big ass fucking river.
Well, it's a portion of. It's like it runs from here to here. You own that or something like that.
All right, so
she
what
owns
if
all of it. Now.
She owns the start of it,
Or
yeah,
something.
for sure.
Yeah,
But it's just crazy. Like,
yeah,
you're
water
not gonna
rights
let
are
it
weird.
flow.
Yeah. And then Egg says like, but you're not even using it for the crops. You're using it for the moat.
She's like, my dad told me you need a strong defense.
Yeah. So okay,
And-
This is the first defense here.
here's what I want you guys to talk about. If you guys are like the liege lord here, right?
Okay.
How do you settle this? Say they come to you and you don't. It's not like you like one or the other. You're completely.
Well, here's the
neutral.
other thing. If you're the liege lord, if you're neutral,
Yeah, I'm saying you. If you're the liege lord, like,
Okay.
what do you tell them to do? How do you solve this conflict? Just take the dam down.
she needs to split the river in half. She needs to get some flowing down. She can get some flowing to her moat, but she needs to get some flowing because there's still people in your land.
And then also on top of that, the blood price.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you'd make her accept the blood price?
Yes. Or no, I'd say fuck Sir Barris. Get him
Bennis.
down here. He needs to get taught a lesson. He needs to get his face cut.
So
Yeah,
that's
I
it.
agree
He
with
gets
Jeff there.
he gets whatever he gave.
You cut his face. Maybe if it's not even worth it to send a trickle of water down to the small folk, you just tell them like, no, all right, well you're gonna plant more crops to take care of these small folks.
That's what
now.
I was thinking. Is like she has so many more small folk that it makes sense for her to get the water over
Yeah.
them. But also, if
You need
she's
to look after them.
yeah, I would almost have to like put in like a subsidy. Like, okay, until this drought's over and you can take the dam down, you have to give them 10% of all your crops so that they can eat. Because otherwise, their crops are all going to die.
Yeah, you need to feed them.
Something
you
like
need to keep
that.
them alive. Yeah.
Because if you take the dam down, nobody can grow crops because there's not enough water to like grow real crops. So you're growing shitty crops. So if you take the dam down, nobody's getting anything. So I agree with keeping the dam up, irrigate, make crops, but then you got to give some, right?
Yeah.
That's what I was
Make
thinking.
more crops. Dam it up, maybe even farther up, so it's a little bit stronger, close to the castle.
Yep.
And figure it out.
Yeah. So then, she basically says, if Eustace wants water, he better start praying for rain. And then this is when Dunk remembers, like, he said that she was fond of his Adam. And he's like, well, don't do it for him, do it for Adam. And we had a friend when we were in Cancun who kind of had a similar situation to what happens to Dunk here. There was a little bit of harassing is too strong a word. He made some rude comments to a woman.
Wordplay.
He was flirting a little bit too suggestively with a woman in public, and she was just like looked at him, she's like, "Get over here." And he walked over, and I think at first he thought he was getting lucky, and then she was like, "Take your glasses off," because he wears sunglasses. And he took his glasses off, and then he just got slapped right across the face.
I never heard this story, and that is fucking amazing. Holy shit, man. That is great.
Again, I've read this book so many times. Every time I read it, I just think of my boy getting slapped in the face, because that's exactly what happened. She's like, "Come over here. Take your glasses off." Because she didn't want to, like, break his Ray-Bans. He just smacks him right in the face.
Honorable move by that girl.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
seriously, that is really nice of her.
I like when that's how you handle stuff, right? You don't go and be like, "Oh, this guy was saying just shit about me." Just be like, "Get over here. That was rude. You're getting slapped for it."
Get a nice clout in the ear.
Yeah, take what you exactly. Take what's due.
Clout in the ear.
So, do you guys remember what Dunk thinks when he gets slapped?
She hits harder than he thought.
He's like, "I wish I could bend her over my knee right now and start smacking her ass."
Smacking her on the arse.
Like, what? Like, at first I thought, he wished he could just, like, grab her and kiss her is where I think that's going. Again, I've read this so many times. Every time I read it, I think that's where he's going with it. And then it's like, slap her on the ass. I'm like, what? Is that, like, a sexual thing or, like, a punishment? I don't even know. It just confuses me every time.
I guess because she's so small and everything, he thinks of her as, like, a girl. And,
a baby.
like a little girl that needs a...
Yeah.
Like a little
punishment.
baby.
Yeah, so then we
Maybe.
find out...
Or it's sexual, either one.
She was in love. Her and Adam were in love.
Because he was a squire.
And he went off to war.
And he was how old when he went off to war?
Like 14,
10.
I think?
12.
12.
12.
Yeah.
That is bananas, dude. Getting sent to war when you're 12?
Yeah.
Imagine that.
What grade are you in? Like, what grade are we in when we're 12?
6th, maybe?
5th, 6th. Yeah, you're 14 as a freshman. You turn 15 as a freshman, so I think 6th grade is correct.
Fuck that.
That's middle school. That's like junior high football. Fucking kids are putting their butt pads in front because they think it's a cup. Like, that's when, like, that's how young you are in that age.
Yeah, no, it's crazy.
Was he like a flag bearer, or was he actually fighting? Like,
He
that's
died.
Crazy.
They said, like,
Yeah.
he died
Either
trying to
way-
get his wounded brother out or something.
Either way, they killed him.
Yeah, he's dead. Doesn't matter what he was doing. He's dead. Delete him from your Facebook. Delete him from your phone. He dead.
I mean, you don't need to delete him, jeez.
You keep a dead guy on your Facebook?
It also reminds me of, like, the Revolutionary War when the little kids would go off to war and they were drummer boys.
Yeah.
What a worthless thing. Oh, you're going to join the fight. You're going to drum. In the front line, have you that?
Wild. Yeah.
Stupid.
I mean, also, they're not aiming at the drummer boys.
Yeah.
Oh, and they had such great shots with rifles that flew all over the place.
Didn't have
they would
rifling.
fucking line up in a straight fucking line and shoot at each other. It's kind of like,
Hard to miss.
yeah,
Yeah.
Meanwhile,
they're not aiming for the drummer
trebuchets
boy.
are shooting cannonballs are coming at them. Come on.
Your boy Wet Watts back there chucking rocks.
Yeah, I was literally just thinking wet wash.
Trev.
And that's where we leave off.
All right, so we've been going a while. Let's get some quick predictions in here, Jeff.
This is gonna be tough. This is a tough prediction because I want Dunk to leave knowing that the Red Widow and maybe the Red Widow's playing them like a fiddle, and Eustace isn't a black dragon, but I think he is, and I want Dunk to not. He's gonna end up turning on him a little bit. I think
On
there's gonna
Eustace?
there's gonna be some sort of knowledge that comes to him even further. Maybe the Blood Raven, maybe Egg.
All right, so hold on. Let's go immediate. Right now, Dunk is going back to stand fast, right?
Yeah.
So
I'm saying something's gonna happen on the walk back to Steadfast where he's in conflict with who's my allegiance to. Is this guy a traitor or not? Because there's been a lot of treasonous shit been going on. So on his way back, he's gonna decide in his mind, and he might not have the decision yet, but it's gonna be working to there that he's gonna he might have to turn on this guy if he's not the good dude, and he's gonna get back into Steadfast, and he might have to cut down all 8 people that he was just training.
Okay.
And then he's gonna go back to the Red Widow. But once he gets back to the Red Widow's gonna be like, "All right, are you gonna swear your sword to me?" And he's like, "No, we're moving on."
Okay.
On to the next story.
I mean, again, that second prediction is kind of safe because what kind of story could there be with Dunks just serving the Red Widow all next book?
Well, yeah, I mean, at some point he's gonna leave, but maybe bangs her out and then leaves. I don't know. Maybe she
is looking for a husband.
Boom, 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 boom.
She offers to wed him, and he says, "No, I'll take it a step further."
Oh, Dunk says he'll take it a step further? What's a step further?
No, the Red Widow's going to be like...
You said you're taking your prediction a step further.
Yeah.
Gotcha. And Dunk has an egg realization that girls have cooties, and
yeah,
he wants to be a Kingsguard instead of get married.
Exactly.
I don't hate that.
All right.
I don't like to comment on predictions because I feel like if I comment,
there's no way you have no poker face. Yeah.
I'm just staring in Glow's eyes, waiting for him to tell me something.
All right. Well, we've been going for way too long. Hopefully I can edit this down, but I don't know how much I can edit out. Again, I love these books. I like how. Are we going too deep? Do you guys think we're going too deep in these books?
No. If you're watching, it's because you want to hear.
You want to go deep.
Yeah, you love this shit.
Yeah, we're deep. We're in this shit. If you want to go to some pansy-ass podcast...
who don't know shit about Game of Thrones...
who only talks for about 35 minutes, then go fuck yourself.
Just like the Bible.
That's not good. I disagree.
We're going to leave everybody there today. After we finish Song of Ice and Fire, we might hop right into the Bible. So... join us for that podcast in 2 years.
We're going to have no followers by that time, so it's not going to matter what we're reading.
The following is a short clip that I had to cut out from the middle of this podcast where Glow accidentally dropped a spoiler from A Dance with Dragons. So check that out if you're interested. Then following our outro, there'll be a little blooper from the front that Jeff requested to get put at the end. All right, thanks for listening, everybody. Here you go.
So when I was reading, I did not know. Right after he says the boot, he says... how many eyes does Bloodraven have? 1,000 eyes in one.
Yeah, because it's kind of like varies.
I think it has some connection to fucking Bloodraven and like how he can instantly. This to me thinks of Green Seeing or whatever. Brendan Rivers becomes the Three-Eyed Raven. I thought he had fucking connections to the whole fucking world.
Yeah, and maybe because
he's the Three-Eyed fucking Raven?
We're going to have to put a spoiler in. We're going to move this part to the... This is what I was going to say at the end. When you said earlier, you're like, can we talk about Brendan Rivers? And I was like, no, we'll talk about it at the end. That's what I thought you were talking about. Not that he was a Targaryen.
It's not confirmed he's Three-Eyed Raven.
It is.
Is it confirmed?
He has one eye. When Bran meets him, he has one eye. He's pale, has a wine-stained birthmark on his face, and Bran says, I've been watching you all my life with 1,000... And the guy says to Bran, I've been watching you all my life with 1,000 eyes in one.
Oh, shit. I remember you telling me that he was a Targaryen. I did not know. Alright.
That's what I realized.
That's what I was going to say earlier when I accidentally cut off Jeff.
Spoiler,
when they said
the
Weirwood shafts, that's his connection to the old gods right away.
Yeah, so that's also how he... Yeah. Exactly. And there's a part when Dunk's talking about seeing him in King's Landing. He says, like, I stared at him because I was really creeped out by him. And he, like, locked eyes with me immediately.
He's the Night King. Dunk's the Night King.
Dunk's the Night King?
Oh, shit.
That'd be dope. First off, we don't know if there's a Night King.
Why are the Three-Eyed Raven and the Night King just staring back and forth at each other?
That's pretty crazy. All right, well, I hope everybody has a great rest of their day. And we'll see you next time where we read the end or the Sworn Sword.
Peace out.
The night is dark and full of terrors, my friends.
Blooper. Good morning, Western.
Can that be at the end as a blooper?
Yeah.
The spring fever took him.
Yeah, I got the spring plague.